Well, blessed Friday to you as we come with your daily encouragement. And we are studying the book of James. We're going to get to the 12 teachings, but we have an introduction in the book of James about faith and wisdom. We talked about that sometimes we have to test our faith, but when we're in that stage, we're double minded. But once we get past that double mindedness, that's dealing with the impulses of going one direction or another. Just like doubting Thomas wasn't sure what that meant now that Jesus died, but now that he saw that he was risen, he was able to go in a one direction. And that happens at different stages with different teachings, different positions we might take, changes we might go into. But once we are solid in our direction, then James gives us a challenge to not be double-minded anymore, to be single-minded, to be pursuing the truth of Jesus Christ. And that's going to be one of the themes that go in here, to be committed to one's truth. This is not the essence of Christianity. This is about the fruit of Christianity. And that's a key thing to remember so we understand the difference between Paul's teaching and James' teaching. But let's begin with verse 9. We went through the introduction 1 through 8 yesterday. But verse 9, it says, poverty and riches. Let the believer who is lowly boast in being raised up, and the rich in being brought low. Because riches will disappear like the flower in the field, and the sun rises, and it will scorch the heat, and it withers in the field. The flower falls, and the beauty perishes. It is the same way with the rich, in the midst of a busy life, which will wither away. And so, once again, James is telling us, be anchored not in the outward things of life, being anchored in the inward things of life. And what are the inward things? Trusting in Jesus Christ, having one's foundation in one's faith in Jesus Christ. And that's why I talk about the sacraments as one of those places. Baptism, an act of God, calling us, enlightening us, calling us by name, giving us a new birth. That is our foundation. Now, it's okay to experience conversion where we sometimes where we're hot or cold, where we make a decision for the Lord. But many times, some people experience the thing called backsliddenness, where we've gone against our decision for the Lord. And we wonder, are we fickle or anything? Well, we're fickle because if we trust in our outward things, we won't trust in the inward core of what God is leading us to. Riches and poor, like financial things, will come and go. So will our health. So will our decisions. But God's decision for us will never fail. And that's the key thing that Luther wanted to make sure that we were grounded in his decision for us, and that we can be grounded in that. Now here it goes into trial and temptation. It says in verse 12, blessed is anyone who endures temptation. Such a one who has stood the test and will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. No one, when tempted, should say, I am being tempted by God. For God cannot be tempted by evil, and he himself tempts no one. But one who is tempted by one's own desires, being lured and enticed by it. Then, when the desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin. And that sin, when it is fully grown, gives birth to death. Do not be deceived, my beloved. Every gracious act of giving with every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variation or shadow due to change. In the fulfillment of his own purpose, he gives us birth by the word of truth, so that we would become a kind of first fruits of his creatures. Now, what is he talking about first? Where if we put our trust in the things of this world, or should I say the ups and downs of life, wealth, our feelings, our emotions, and things like that, not that we should discount them all the time, but if we put our trust in the things that are changing, things that are up and down, Should I say, like even our families or even our social institutions? Right now, the institution of the church is being challenged, but the essence of the church, which is faith in Jesus Christ, is stronger than ever. So that when we are going through this flood of doubt that is going on, we are reminded that we have something even greater and stronger to trust in. And that's why when we lead down to the things that are not foundational, we lead into sin that leads to death. But every good and perfect gift comes from above. And that's where I once again highlight. I know this is taking a Lutheran turn, but that's why I highlight the sacraments, the gift that Jesus gives us in holy baptism. A solid foundation, not based necessarily on our decision, but based on God's decision for us, and renewing in that every time we take Holy Communion, where God promises to be in, with, and under the bread and the wine. That's why we are called to have that on a regular basis. Some people believe that we should only take communion when we feel like it or when we are in a right state of mind, or some people believe in limiting communion to only a certain time of the year when it is quote unquote meaningful to us. You see, that is trading in the illusions, the feelings of the world for the sake of the solid gift that God is giving. Every perfect gift comes from above. It does not change. And so both of these, my friends, are so important for our Christian walk and our Christian life. God bless you today. We trust that God will anchor you in the solid gift from above today. We'll see you next time. Take care.